And suddenly there was an Anthony Herbert. How are we doing, people? Welcome back to the channel. This is the match reaction to not a very super Sunday. Until, of course, the Brighton Tottenham game. That, I think, salvaged the day, but everything else is a little bit shitty. But first and foremost, you joined whilst the intro was going on. Let's find out how Anthony Herbert is doing on the Sunday evening. How we doing, Anthony?
As are not too bad. I got a virus. So if my voice starts to sound like Sean Dyche, you know, that's
Just
that's
another
most probably
spoon,
why.
just another
Yeah,
spoonful of gravel or a shovel of gravel. That should.
exactly. Or it could be finally in 45 years my balls may have actually dropped. So it's either one of the two.
Well, if you suddenly go from sounding like how you do now to um, James Earl Jones or something, then I think we'll know exactly what's happened there. But for myself, I mean, got a bit of a headache. You know, screaming kids with my nephew's birthday. Um, of course, a day out as well with them at some play park. So had to be a super fun uncle for the morning. Thankfully, there were nice lasagna to dish off the afternoon's proceedings, which was quite nice. Homemade lasagnas, can't go wrong with that. But then you've got Man United and Aston Villa boring half the planet to death with, quite frankly, a shite game of football. Let's be real, genuinely shite. Um, and yeah, now it's sort of a case of what now in the realms of Manchester United. What is the next call of action? Given that the whole of the Man United hierarchy was sat there in the stands at Villa Park, looking at absolute utter shite that's going down on the football pitch, wondering where the hell has our big, all of our money that we spent this summer, where's all of that gone? It's all been pissed down the drain by a manager that's decided, you know what, Maguire and Evans, that's the way to go forwards. But do you know what the best thing about it all? Johnny Evans, man of the match performance, best player on the pitch, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
I mean, were you one to watching that game, or did you sort of switch it off after 5 minutes?
Do you know what, Buzz? I'll tell you the truth. I actually watched the whole game. I'm
That's
not
probably
going
why
to
your throat's so sore. You scream
That's
at the television, just like, play some fucking football.
football. Yeah, yeah, that's probably why. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, um, Maguire and Johnny Evans at the back, but Johnny Evans was unbelievable in that game. I thought he had a decent team, and like you said, he had kind of the match. The other thing as well is he got knocked about a bit in the first half, and I thought he
Mm,
was actually injured. I thought he was actually going to come off at one
yeah,
stage. Obviously, he never. So I think with that, I think despite his age, what is he now? 30, what, 5, 36?
mm,
You know, you, I think you got yourself a good defender there. I think he's better than any other defenders you've got there at the minute. I touched on it when we were on the show, on the American Idiot show on Friday night. I just don't think this team respects Tim Hag. I seriously don't. I don't think they got respect for him. I don't feel that they want to pay for him. Um,
mm.
I look at your teams, this season, what you've bought. I mean, I think he's about 100. He's over 110 or 115 million combined
Mm.
with Sirtsky and Hoyland. And I got to be honest with you, us, those strikers aren't good from what I've seen. But I don't feel that they're the answer to Man United firepower you need up front. I think you've got to look elsewhere. I know it's too early. I mean, Sirski's he's new. He's coming to the squad. He's young. But
Mm.
Hoyland, he's already had a season in the Premier League. and I know he's come back from injury, but I just think still that they're the right partnership for you up front. I seriously don't. I think you've got to look elsewhere. You look in the middle of the pitch as well with Bruno Fernandes. I mean, his card was lifted. Well, obviously, he was
Wish it wasn't. Bloody
exactly.
hell! What?
Yeah,
Johnny Evans, the best player on the pitch. Talk about worst player on the pitch. Quite easily,
yeah,
Bruno Fernandes. Just awful. Absolutely woeful. It feels
exactly.
like it's the Portuguese Marcus Rashford at times, given that he puts out a statement saying, "Oh, well, I thank you for all of your support. It's really heartfelt and everything, and I'll try not to let you guys down. I'm sorry, but you've let us down probably every single week since like halfway through last season, and you've not actually significantly improved. So, I mean, what's your take on Bruno's lacking form? Like, what would you say that it's put down to? Because we've seen him do better. We know he's capable of doing better. Like in terms of connecting, thinking things up with teammates. Like if he shoots, he's on target. The eye for the final pass is on. Like he's quite imaginative, quite creative. All of that is like Scott McTominay, except he's got two blocks of cement like stuck to his feet. It makes no sense. Like why he's playing so unbelievably bad. What would you put it down to?
I think to blame Bruno Fernandes. Okay, I understand why people are blaming him, but it's not just him. For us, you've got to blame the team as well. It's the players that surround him. I mean, I can remember when he first come to you, he scored something phenomenal. I think it was like 18 league goals the season before Ronaldo came to Man United. Then Ronaldo came, and then I think Fernandes went downhill from there as well when Ronaldo came, and he hasn't found no recent form. He his shots on goal, they've changed. It's like he's diluted. I don't know what into whatever. I don't know what it is. I think there's
Mm,
something wrong with that player. I think that
mm,
you need to go. I think what Tim Hag needs to do now. He was sorry. He was asking in his press conference after the game. Yeah, you're telling the fans to be patient. He has got a process. He did say he wants to do this process with this club, but it's going to take
mm,
time. But it's finding the right players. You haven't got a gelling system at Man United. Despite I know he's won two trophies. This is his third season now, which is good by the way. But it's like I said, if he can't, it's like he got a hard time communicating with the players on the pitch. And it's like there's a wall there. It's not that the message is not getting through from him to the players.
mm,
And you could tell that today on the pitch. You could tell that in the Tottenham game, when you lost 3-0. It was terrible. There's just a lack of communication, lack of judgment. Is a lack of everything at the minute at Manchester United. So it's got to be resolved for us, and it's got to be resolved fast. But the trouble is, though, how much time has Tim Hag got on his hands until he's actually treading on that thin ice? He's already treading on it, but soon he's going to fall through if these results do not start, you know, coming soon. I mean, we got the international break now,
mm,
which I think that is a relief to Tin Hag, to be honest with you. So
mm.
he can get his mindset, charge his batteries, and re-go again. So, but I don't know what your recent form is after today's game. I don't know what games you got left. I mean, have you got an easy run? If so, how many points you're going to get out of those in your next five?
That I think is the the double-edged sword with the run of games that we got after the international break because it is an easier run of form now or a run of games
Yeah,
comparatively to the one we've just gone through. The form where we currently are is sat in 14th place. It's like that's what is it, 8 points from 7 games. Like
yeah,
that is that's almost hilariously bad. Like that's relegation fodder.
Yeah.
And that we're talking about Manchester United and the fact that we're sat on -3 goal difference, so we're not actually involved with a lot of the action areas on the pitch. It's not like we haven't had some easy games there, but we've literally had to wait for some really easy opponents to actually do anything significant against. Southampton's the only case in point of that, but even then, that game could have, could have gone the other way. So it's it's sort of the double-edged sword I described with the situation is because where we currently are, I think for a club that CEOs come out talking about league title aspirations, maybe if you gave us a time frame of about 20 plus years to achieve that in, I would say, yeah, sure, keep the manager, why not? Because that's just the size of the club that we are now. That's just where we are. But he said that by at least 2028. Well,
Yeah.
that's not as far away as people would assume it is. That's not long. You've got time to start, getting the gears turning. Then, if this guy you're going to back this guy, you got to go balls to the wall with the backing. You can't just meet it halfway and say, well, let's see if the manager can uphold his end of the bargain. Because at times it does feel like the way that he's deciding to do things is self sabotage. Like some of the substitutions today brings on Delict for Maguire, injury, that's understandable. Victor Lindelof on for Mazraoui, that wasn't injury related.
No.
Why was he subbing? Like why would you make that substitution? Mazraoui wasn't playing bad. He was actually one of the more decent defenders on the pitch at the time. You had Xerxes for Hoyland, expected substitution that you may make in a game.
Yeah.
Anthony on for Rashford when Amad Diallo's on the bench. On basis of form, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Why would he be subbed on in that case and scenario? And then the midfield that's on yellow cards that doesn't really have any sort of creative element about it. No changes are made where an Aston Villa team are saying, just to let you know, Man United, we're here for the taking. Come and get us. And Man United go, don't worry about it. We're not going to do anything to change that. We're just going to keep everything the way it is until at least the 85th minute when Casemiro comes on to replace Kobe Minu. Ericsson 90 minutes today, Bruno Fernandes 90 minutes. What is this manager playing at? What on God's earth are you thinking with even half of those substitutions? I mean, the fact that Diallo, unused sub, Lissandro Martinez, unused sub, and Manuel Ugarte, unused sub. Ten Hag has spent somewhere around 100 million plus on two of those players on the bench. The other one was imported under, I think it was under Ollie,
Yeah.
from Atalanta for quite an extortionate fee as well. So that's a lot of money spent there from players that are probably quality wise, pound for pound, better in those specific positions than the ones that he decided to keep going with. And the fact is that in the balance of the game, if you feel like a game's there to be gotten at, like the opposition not really doing much with their possession, not really bearing down on your goal that much, you think, well, this game's there to be won, but we're not doing anything. So
No.
surely you'd think key area of the pitch is in midfield. There's some
Yeah.
balance that I can adjust here and switch the gears up a little bit, take control of the game, and snag a goal or two here. We could have won today if not for the manager actually trying to think proactively and getting a leg up on the opposition, because Unai Emery's Aston Villa team looked like they were out on their legs from minute one. The
Yeah.
fact that some of their chances came from just letting them get the half yards of space to get a shot away, and not Amad Diallo, Diogo Dallo putting in a crucial block to stop that from being a 1-0 game for Aston Villa. The fact is, people will say, but 0-0 away at Villa Park, that's not a bad result. That's not a bad result. But look at how that result came around. Manchester United should have walked away with 3 points today. They should have gone there against that Villa team, and all they needed to do was just turn up and create a couple chances and happy days. But
Yeah,
they didn't.
no, they didn't. No, but I'll be honest with you, Fuzz. I think pretty much I would say I would have to guess about 95% of that team, the Villa team, was the
Mm,
team that beat Bayern Munich. You were
mm,
out there against a very tired Aston Villa team today, honestly. And I mean, you look at it here. I mean, I thought the stats up here. He had 11 shots compared to your 10, but their 11 shots, they had one shot on target. One shot. You had four on target out of 10. The possession, well, the possession is what it is, 55 to 45. I mean, the passes, he dominated within the passes, but the passing accuracy was exactly the same. Both teams was 82% on your passing accuracy. So, in all
mm.
fairness, that was a game for you to win today. You said it, and I really thought that could have been a game for you to win today. You could just tell they went up for that game, Aston Villa. I think
No.
they threw everything against that in that Champions League game against Bayern Munich. But
Mm,
I mean, it was a perfect chance for you to go there and win, gain 3 points, even if it was a smash and grab 1-0 win, as you said, take the 3 points, get in, get out. But unfortunately, it wasn't. But then you hit the nail on the head saying it again, a 0-0 against Aston Villa at Villa Park, and how good Aston Villa are, is not really a bad result for you guys. So, in all fairness, I think it is so many. You've got so many percentage in one area and so many percentage in another area, and you basically with Man United fans, it's just trying to even that balance out on today's game. I mean, if you look at it, you've picked up a point, 0-0. You haven't lost to Aston Villa. Yeah, that's good. But also, you was
mm,
playing against a tired Villa team, a game that
mm,
you could have won. You had more shots on target. Villa only had one. So looking at that, yeah, it does look a bit disappointing. But
mm,
listen, it's football, and anything can happen in a game of football.
mm,
But fortunately, I think I think it was on both. I think it was on both your teams, on both your sides today. I think it was nothing. It was this here. If I had lemonade to this drink, yeah, it would just be a bit more fizz in it and fat as your game. So, in all fairness, would I be happy if I was a Man United fan? I think the result wasn't that bad because you look at the predictions in the other, in the other shows that we've done, this, that, and the other. Everybody had Villa down to win today, but they
mm,
didn't. So
mm.
that's a
Oh,
positive.
I mean, I expected Villa to win as well. Um, but I suppose that's just it. The fact that Villa didn't win was because they didn't show up, and the
Mm.
fact that we walk away with the draw. I mean, if people will say that we should be positive about that, and I'm thinking we're lucky. We're actually it's more so we're lucky that Villa dropped levels today as opposed to Manchester United really pulling off some heroics and scrapping out a hard fought 0-0 draw or something. I mean, it would be that sort of sentiment that Man United just did well as the away team at Villa Park today. If Man United were actually the 14th place team, but
Yeah,
we as football fans know that's not the case. Man United, we're not, no offence to them, we're not necessarily Leicester City. Leicester City would probably have had the hard fought 0-0 draw, and people would have said, "Oh well, shame about Aston Villa not turning up more then." But
yeah.
it's Manchester United that have that going against them. So let's quickly read through a couple comments here. We've got Aces, biggest to you. breaking news: ESPN America are reporting that Ten Hag will be in charge for the rest of the season. To be honest, I doubt that. I doubt that they will keep him in charge for the rest of the season. If this is the sort of form that's going to be prevalent throughout, um, but it's just this particular issue that we've got, or the situation that the manager's facing. I mean, we all knew about this meeting happening on Tuesday up in or down in London, but apparently just after the game they've scheduled another meeting tomorrow in Manchester. So whether that is the appointed moment to maybe dismissing the manager, because they'll probably look at the table and say, positionally, we are in dire straits, and after watching that game, probably they're not convinced. Um, and it may be, it depends. They may have had some of those guys in the boardroom um, go down and actually gather the mood of what's going on in the dressing room and see what people are thinking or what players are saying. And if the mood is really sour, it's like, well, that's not. You can't take a an international break and that fix itself, because it's the Premier League. You don't get sympathy time to figure your issues out, with how you are how you are feeling about each other and stuff. It's a case that if it really is sour in that environment, most cases you need to make changes in order to actually dissolve or filter out some of those issues. Anthony,
Yeah.
delighted with Bristol Rovers 3-1 victory yesterday.
No, look them. They're shit. I hate them, and they're precious. I ring. I don't know. The fish get fingered.
Southgate was sat behind Ineos today. No, they weren't. No, we weren't. I watched the games where the moments it was showing the board sat in the stands. They all sat alongside next to each other. Um, yeah, no, he wasn't. He wasn't at Villa Park. His brain isn't switched on in crucial moments. I think that's in reference to Ten Hag, which I suppose you could
Yeah.
say that be the case, because where I've already said proactivity is what's needed in the thinking as a manager to get the leg up to beat your opponents in the game, and that's where you can say that managers will earn their pay, is tactically outsmarting the opposition during the game if the game plan they walked into the game with isn't working out. So it's like if a manager's got a plan A, plan B, and plan C, they enact to plan B when plan A isn't working, and they do it on the fly, and everyone's just like, well, fair plays. Aston Villa, very dead game with plan A, switch it up to plan B, changing the level of possession, the pressing, the positional, the average positionings, and straight away Villa have to try and counteract that. Maybe Villa played today just relying on the similar approach to what they did against Bayern, but weary minds and weary legs just meant that they didn't convert any chances this time. Um, Brentford, Chelsea, and West Ham, I think, are some of the games that we've got coming up after international break. That Chelsea game will be difficult, and I think Brentford is away also. So that's another tough game, tough trip to London. Um, there's a home game in there somewhere. I can't remember which one it is. Let's have a quick look.
Or your
Upcoming
Brentford. You got Brentford
Brentford's
at home.
Brentford's at
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brentford at home, Fenerbahce away, West Ham away, Leicester at home in the EFL Cup midweek on the 30th, and then there's Chelsea at home straight after that. Um, so there are a couple of tougher games, but then the rest of them are like relatively easy. Like PAOK at home in Europa League. Straight after that is Leicester at home, followed by Ipswich away, and then Bodo Glimt at home, and then Everton at home. And that's going all the way into December at that point. So we've got plenty of way more than winnable games, but it's just with the situation with the manager, it's like as a reference back to a double-edged sword situation. You either back your manager now with the hope that this run of fixtures is what he needs to get back on track. Alternatively, you cut the cord now and have someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy in the interim phase use the international break to sort of draw up his battle plans. So when the group comes back from international duty, there's a little bit of time to sort of warm up into it. Plus, your first game back is a home game against Brentford. You kind of want that to be the case. A home game against a team that's not like top six, like level opposition. Um, Not somebody that, no offense to Brentford, are insanely difficult to beat because they, dependent on the day that you play them, they are relatively easy to play against. Um, and it's just with that run of form is what Ruud van Nistelrooy would need to get this team stabilising and picking up crucial points in the season, and not just for the Premier League's sake, but also in Europa League as well, because we're only on 2 points in the group stage there. Bottom half of the table, I believe, as well, which is, again, it's not good. We're not even mid-table. That's the crazy thing. We're not even mid-table. We are below mid-table at this stage. Big ups to DJ Crane here as well. Big up Fuzzy and Anthony. Good to see you. What a weird day today. To Donna Collins and Wolfie's chat along wanting a hot for sandwich. Thank goodness I'll stay away from that. I'm disappointed at Villa. Needed them to win. Well, points on that because I predicted them to win. United are 6 points off fourth place. Funnily enough, we're only 2 points behind Tottenham Hotspur. It's crazy to think about. We're down in 14th. They're up in ninth place, but yeah, man, it's not even then it's not that great. I mean, mind the gap between Man United and first place. That's the gap you should pay attention to if you're a Man United fan. Big up Fuzzy and Anthony. A Fuzzy Live this is a rare moment. Big ups to Michael.Chelsea. Yeah, we're just sort of resigned myself into doing video content recently. I think it's just easier in the moment for me to do, rather than go for full hours. And even though I can engage a lot of the time, it's just with the talking points that I have, I just feel like the shows wouldn't be long enough, or there's not a lot for me to talk about in those shows. So I sort of keep it to videos at this moment in time. Was meant to do 2 shows over this weekend, but one of them the host forgot that he had the show planned, and then the other one we're not sure what's going on or where he's at, but hopefully everything's okay. But we'll have to just wait and see what they come out and say. Evening, lads. Not very good today. Man United did not understand some of the subs. Only 5 goals scored in the Premiership this season. We've actually played more games than we've scored goals. We've played more games than we've scored goals. How has this happened? How have we come to this? Manchester United have scored once this season in the first half of football. Once. I think that's Premier League, but even then, that's ridiculous. Ridiculously bad.
Yeah.
Positive today, a clean sheet. And that's another thing. Andre Onana currently is on running to get the Golden Glove as it stands.
Yeah.
14th place, Andre Onana. Oh my God. It's like the first season, isn't it? Where, it was David De Gea gets a Golden Glove, but everyone's just like, oh, dead goalkeeper. It's like, it feels like David De Gea's Golden Glove. If Andre Onana gets Golden Glove, I'm sorry, but that's from fraudulent activity. That's absolutely fraudulent. No way. I'd say give that to charity, Andre. You don't deserve it. No way would you deserve it. Hashtag keep Ten Hag in. He is doing a fantastic job. That game was shocking. shockingly bad. I can't believe I did a laugh along stream, but got no joy out of that. Well, that's you got to be careful, Michael. If you do laugh alongs to Manchester United, sometimes you'll actually get so bored that it's just a bore along. It's either a bore along or it's just one of those videos that you see some weird content creators make where they just stare at your camera for about 10 minutes straight and just not even don't even crack a smile, just stare at your camera for 10 minutes, and everyone smashes likes on it. Like, what are you doing with your lives? 10 minutes of just nothingness, and you like it. 2024 degeneracy at its peak, you could say. But I suppose I'll ask you this question. For instance, where you know the situation, how it is, you as the board or a member of the board, you make the final decision. Are you keeping Ten Hag or are you letting him go tomorrow?
It is a tricky one, that one. The only reason why it's tricky for me first is because the guy has won 2 trophies in now, which is going to be his third season, and we haven't got that at Arsenal. We
Mm,
haven't got that. And this is what we've been crying out for.
mm,
I don't know. I think I think I'll most probably keep him to the end of this season. Plus, you see what I don't know what your financial Man United's financial situation is like, but maybe just keep him until see what the January transfer window brings. If he can get some players. I know he might have to sell some players. At the end of the day, the players you're going to sell anyway, you are going to get quite a few million quid for. Let's be honest, because the price that you've actually paid for them, you're
mm,
talking £60 million plus. I mean, Anthony, you know, Rashford, if you want to get rid of him, he's going to cost
mm,
next month. He's going to cost around about 50 mil at least, maybe 60. Do you know what I mean? Bruno Fernandez, if he goes. But it's like what I said, you've got players there that you can actually sell and bring money into the club. Okay, you might
mm,
bring in cheaper players, around about the 35, £40 million mark. But if they come in, these £40 million players, and you can see them thinking, well, hang on a second, they played well in that game. They were
mm,
non-stop, you know, they their legs that their legs were going in that 90 minutes, covering all areas of the pitch. So I think, to be honest with you, I will definitely give him to the end of this season, but that's only if the January transfer window is good. That's my philosophy.
yeah. Well, I think everyone, well, most people would know my stance on the situation. For me, I would have sacked him beforehand, before this game, before, probably dating back to the last um, international break. But for me, I see people making comparisons to the situation. Some people saying, well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was like in a tumultuous situation as well, going into an
Yeah,
international break, and they said, we'll back him 2 games after the international break got sacked because both games were just awful. And I think it was after losing to Watford 4-1, which is the risk because it's like after an international break, players go away, play with other teams, come back, and it's like how you feel after holiday blues, right? You come back away from vacation and you're just like, oh, for God's sakes, I have to go back to work. And then there's some of these players are probably like, oh, I don't want to be here right now. So they'll go into
yeah,
the next game and desire or passion or efforts on the floor. And then it doesn't really matter what Ten Hag says at that point. Even if his game plan's good, the players probably would still throw the white towel in and call it a day. So I think even then is, I suppose the only really decisive factor with this decision would be the finance side of things, where it's about £17 million to pay him off. I suppose the only saving grace as to why people would think, or why, if you're in that position, that you would still consider paying it off and getting rid of the manager, is that the backup is already there. Like plan B, the assistant manager can step up into the manager's role because he's got previous first team managerial experience. And I think it's not just, well, club legend because of the sake of club legend status. He's had some good stuff going on with, I think it was PSV Eindhoven beforehand. And I think for the sake of it being an interim managerial process for this season, I think they would continue to push for the long-term replacement manager. And the media outlets, they're in full swing with this. They're constantly linking all sorts of things. I mean, apparently Inzaghi was leaked. They're apparently the news outlet saying, oh, they asked him to come in during the international break, but he said no. I was like, well, no, he wasn't contacted. We know this. We know he definitely wasn't contacted. You don't go as Manchester United and say, hey, Simone Inzaghi, I know that you're currently winning stuff with Inter Milan at the moment, more or less at the top of Italian football, but would you like to come to 14th place Manchester United? Do you fancy that? Like you wouldn't stick that out there. You would say, we'll negotiate with you, but we've got an idea for a project. If you come in at the end of the season, finish what you're doing with Inter Milan, and we'll look to discuss things there. So I think a lot of these big name managers that Man United might be able to pull or might be able to sway away from their other projects would have to be an end of season thing. They'd have to do that at the end of the season. So I think the idea short term plan with an interim manager like Ruben Nistelrooy would, it would be the most suitable thing to go with. Plus, I'm intrigued to know what perhaps Ruben Nistelrooy thinks as far as ideas go, considering you were sat on the bench arguing with Ten Hag on the bench. He was they were all just shouting at each other. So to me, very much looks like there are conflicting ideas. And with the fact that Ten Hag's decisions don't look like they really make any sense, we're all confused. Maybe Ruud is also confused on the bench, wondering what on earth is going on. I see some people who've watched Rashford when he's gone back onto the bench. He's like, oh, he's like he's lost the plot. He's gone mad. And people are saying, oh, he's talking about the manager. He's talking about the manager. I think he's probably talking about the referee, because the referee today was a bit weird. Like he was booking every opportunity, every single foul that Manchester United committed. Yellow card, yellow card, yellow card. Aston Villa could have just mowed down a Man United player with an AK-47, just blood all over the pitch. He would have gone, I didn't see that. VAR, did you see anything? No, that's what I thought. Like it was a bit weird. I mean, the only yellow card they got was Ross Barkley and added time in the second half. Like there's so many bookies that should have happened that game, but as we all know, refereeing decisions.
It was a game. It was a game you were watching, and I would, in all fairness, I spent half my time confused because you got Ten Hag is the manager, the camera's on him, and the majority of the time he was pasted. He couldn't keep still. He was up, bang, and then Van Nistelrooy got off the bench. He's talking to the substitutions that's coming on, and then he's shouting out to the players, giving them instructions. I actually seen that today in the game, and I'm thinking, okay, fine, fair enough. But why isn't Ten Hag? It was like Ten Hag was like, he was like a lost soul there. It was just like, was there any point of him being there, managing this game?
Yeah,
because the majority of it was managed by Van Nistelrooy, in my opinion. So I know he's come in to elbow the backboard and all that, but I mean, it sort of reminds you of, like, I don't know if you can remember this, Fuzz, but it was like once upon a time this happened in Liverpool with Roy Evans and Gerard Houllier. It was like a thing come in, and then they clashed because they didn't see. It wasn't the question of they didn't see eye to eye. It was because it was two different managers with two different philosophies trying to, do this with the team. One was trying to get that example over, and the other one was saying, "Well, no, don't listen to that. Listen to this example." So I
Mm,
don't know. I think from this, after this game, I think you might see a lot of that in Man United.
mm.
I think there's going to be a ruckus there between Ten Hag and Van Nistelrooy. I really do, because
That's what, yeah.
I've just gone on today's game and obviously what I've seen, and if that's going to happen, a lot of that is most probably going to happen. And Ten Hag most probably think, "Oh, I might as well not be here."
Mm.
Do you
Well,
know what I mean? So
I suppose it's one of those. You look at the situation from the outside looking in, and you may say, well, that then would be the players not respecting their manager, and that would also be his coaching staff not respecting the manager.
yeah,
If that be the case, then rather than the board saying, "Oh, we feel so sorry for you, Ten Hag," they'd say, "Well, football is a results business, and business, as we know, is never anyone's best friend. It never is. You have to make the brutal decisions and be as cutthroat as possible because time is money in football, and time, if you spend your time pissing about, there's a lot of other competition that will happily just overtake you. See you later. Enjoy the doldrums whilst we'll just take your place." So Manchester United cannot really afford to look at a situation where a storm is brewing between manager and assistant manager, whilst the manager's out of form and sat in 14th place with title aspirations, and just sit there and say, "That's all fine. It's all fine, I suppose." Like, like you wouldn't, in your good conscience, want to leave that alone because that can cause a lot more damage further on down the line. And just to come into this comment here, I can't see them parting with 17 million just to sack Ten Hag. I agree with Anthony. Ten Hag is staying until at least the end of the season. But I think that they probably would, because for once it's now not about all just commercial money, this and that with this board. There's actually a bit of sporting acumen that matters. So if Manchester United, it's like, what would you rather do? Spend £17 million to sack the manager that's not taking you anywhere, and go with the interim manager, which you spend absolutely no money on, and he potentially salvages a season, gets you into a fairly decently like league finishing position, say like sixth or fifth place from where you are in 14th,
yeah,
or you stick with the manager and say, well, we don't want to pay off £17 million, but then your situation just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, meaning that by the time you get around to actually pulling the trigger, that you probably added maybe 100, 150, £200 million worth of investment needed to reverse the damage that's been caused. Because if you look at players like Kobe Miner or Garnacho, younger players that come into this team, you think they should be players that are carrying the team, and they were carrying the team. They look like they're stagnating a little bit, and like there's a sort of like a hindrance to their continued growth, or like going on to bigger and better things. It feels like that the way the situation is just it's starting to reach that phase where it's toxic for everybody now. And you got to ask the question, like, if it is the case that it's become toxic, how long are you willing to let that go on for, with the risk of it costing you more money down the line than it would do paying off now and taking the chance? Because inevitably, as a Manchester United football club, you're going to have to spend money regardless. Like, you're going to have to. It's just what's the long term vision, and how ballsy do you want to be with it? Because if you try to be ballsy and it fails humiliatingly, that's coming straight back to you. And every like your reputation as new board owners, Ineos at Manchester United, guess what? Their stocks plummeting because they've allowed this to go on. So I think if you're coming in as new board owners and you want to make a statement and you're talking about taking Manchester United back to the top, I think you act, you know, talk is cheap. Actions will speak louder than words. And I think with a more cutthroat approach is probably how you can essentially beat respect into people and your employees, because it's like your failure is now met with consequences, and showing your hand to having power over players and managers and coaching staff alike, people will think, well, no, I can't mess around here. I've got to watch my back. I've got, like, it matters with every passing week what I'm doing, not just on the training pitch, but on the football pitch during 90 minutes. And if I don't pull my weight, what's happened to my manager there may happen to me. Like, there's got to be a psychological warfare that I think this board has to be ready to, put up against people that perhaps want to slack. Because, I mean, Benny McCarthy's comments, you can't just say what Benny McCarthy has said and in good graces sit there and do nothing as a boss. It's like you were an employee, faithful employee, leaves the company that he works for you. You're the big boss. You've got performance issues in your company, and then you hear through the grapevine, oh, the guy that just left, that quit, he's just told some other people, yeah, by the way, a couple of guys in important positions in there, they're not trying. They're actively not trying to do well for the company, and it's hurting them. Me as a boss, I can't just sit there and listen to it and go, right, I'm just going to not act. I've got to do something. So whichever way it is, change has to happen. Has to. Look at Tottenham Hotspur. Some Spurs fans saying Ange out. He's been here for only one full season, going through his second season, and I mean, we can't sit here and say, well, Ten Hag deserves more time. Ten Hag's in his third season, and he's been given his players this summer. He has.
Yeah.
Ange Postecoglou is earlier on in his phase, and you could say, well, for his case, he does need a bit of time, but if things do get untenable, they'd probably pull the trigger. But
The difference is, guys, is it all comes down with Ten Hag. That's the reason why he's still in the job today, is because of those trophies. He's won. Right? You look at, I watched the Tottenham game today, and they went 2-0 up, 2-2, and just there on the top, on the touchline. He's nodding his head.
Mm.
And obviously, Brighton scored that third goal. Full-time whistle goes. What does Ange do? He walked onto the pitch, and he's there. The camera's literally on him, and he's looking around. Like that. He's in deep in thought. And I've seen, you've most probably seen it. I've certainly seen it in managers thinking, like, what have I taken on here? I really don't know. What's the next step, the next stage, the next plan? Transfer window in January. Am I going to get any more money? Is there going to be a quality signing in that window coming in, to help us? That guy, I'll be honest with you, he looks lost today, and it won't surprise me if he walks. He's going to be the sort of manager that's going to be he's going to walk before he's sacked. That guy, I reckon. You can tell it today what he did. What in that after the game, and he was stood there on that pitch, and I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, he's only on amount of time. He's going to have enough of this job. He's going to walk. And I tell you what, I don't. It'd be wrong for him to do that. But Ange is like a winner. He comes across. He wants to win. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. He wants to win trophies at Tottenham. But on that performance, he ain't going to win nothing. But at least with Manchester United, you can see sort of like a slight difference to that. But It's like what you said. You hit the nail on the head when actions are louder than words. I don't think the right words are being spoken in your boardroom, and the action is definitely not out there on that pitch with Man United. Definitely not. So you've got words that don't mean anything, and you've got no action on the pitch. And
Yeah.
then once you jumble these two up, yeah, you put all that into a bowl, you've got Man United. It's
Mm,
somewhere along the line, something has got to be done, and it does need a change. But this is
mm,
what I'm saying. I think Ten Hag will still be at Man United at Christmas time. Transfer window January. That's the only thing that can save Man United and Ten Hag from his job. That'd be the only thing that can save him is the
mm,
January transfer window. If he doesn't get anything in that window, I'm sorry, Man United ain't doing nothing. They'll keep Ten Hag to the end of this season. You don't know that these people in the back boardroom, they could be talking now after this Aston Villa game.
mm,
All right, we've got a list of managers. We've got top 10. We've got a list of 10 managers there. Right, let's have a look. Well, how much do you reckon they want in wages? Right, let's
mm,
move the bottom. Let's move the bottom five away. Let's concentrate on the top five managers we've got here. Right,
mm,
and that's what they're trying to do. But if you've got the money to lower the manager, I mean, money talks at the end of the day. But what I'm saying is, you've got to attract the right manager. And if you've got to attract
mm,
the right manager, everybody's saying Zinedine Zidane. I'm sorry, but if you're on about getting Zidane in, his yearly salary, I'm going to say, you're talking around about 30 million a year in wages, maybe a bit more than that. I don't think Man United will pay that for a manager's wages,
mm.
honestly, because I hate to say it, but I can't. I just think it's bad times at Man United at the minute.
Yeah. Beats to Gunnar Matata. Hope all is good with you.
I give it
Sack as soon as possible. If not, good luck. Pretty much. Money talks. Any truth manager would walk. And I suppose I think that's a good point. Talking about Ten Hag looking like the sort of guy who would walk before getting sacked. That's if the board would decide to. I think what it is, right, is if the board show indecisiveness, I think the
Mm,
manager would get frustrated with that. Like, I think he wants them to make a decision. He wants them to say yay or nay to him. Like, if they just have radio silence, it's just like, now just keep doing your job. Don't worry about us. I think he'd just be like, well, no, I want answers. I want to know what's going on. I want to know if I'm here for much longer or not. So even if they just said to him, look, after international break, we'll stick with you, but you got 3 games, all of them, you know, all of them, or at least 2, have to be wins. The other one, at the very, very minimum, would have to be a draw or a win. If you
yeah,
lose any of them, you're gone. Any. And instantly sacked. Even with that sort of thing. And I suppose the interesting thing would be like there's media outlets talking about what the board's plan is with the manager, and I'm thinking, well, to be honest, with this new board regime, there aren't actually many, if any, leaks anymore. Like there's no press exclusive that comes out to certain journalists that they have information that from an undisclosed source, like from sources within the club, say this is what's happening. They're not really giving off any hints or ideas. So I think there's a lot of people that right now are just guessing. They've written stories by saying, yeah, this is what's going to happen, but I think they're all just hoping that they're going to be right with it. I genuinely do not know what Ineos's resolve is going to be, but to be honest, in my personal opinion, I hope it is that they do opt for change, because with what we're seeing at the moment, the fact that it can get significantly worse, and that I know it's going to cost a lot of money, but I'm less concerned about 17 million now, with the fact that the future could have much bigger implications if you don't act sooner rather than later. if you are Real Madrid in this situation, Florentino Perez would have sacked him last week. Like if you're today, he would have sacked you yesterday. Why are you here at Villa Park, Eric? I sacked you. Like get out. Rude is taking over. Like it's like we've got to see the resolve and to really match up between what the boards say in their ambitions and what they actually do. Because if Homer Barada says, look, league title by at least 2028, and then Ten Hag keeps his job just indefinitely, then straight away, Ineos out will start being a trending thing. And some of the
Yeah.
fans, I mean, guys like Saeed, Rants and Bants, they're already like, well, Ineos, fraud watch. You've got to make that. You've got to make that decision now, and make it now, not next week or a week after, a week after. Now, sacking this manager now is the only decision, the only right decision that can be made. So, I think I'm more or less in that same camp. I think decisions now have to be made, and the fact that they've scheduled two meetings, one after the other. I mean, just after the game as well. Immediately, emergency meeting tomorrow in Manchester. Everybody be there. That to me, if I'm the manager, I'm thinking, well then, I'll start packing my bags. Because why would your big co-chairman just turn up with all of the board members just to some random away game? There's no cultural significance or historical significance to Manchester United this away game, but everybody just turns up. All your big bosses. It's like a performance review. And if they look at that and after the game say, "Yeah, we need to have some big discussions because this isn't good," they they organise the meeting. They say, "Right, tomorrow morning, first thing, meeting. We need to talk about this." If there weren't as many concerns, then maybe the Monday's meeting in Manchester doesn't happen. Maybe they just skip to the Tuesday meeting in London because that was scheduled before this game. So yeah, I think there is it's watch this case or watch this space, not necessarily tonight, but tomorrow. I think we should something's going to happen, whatever it is, and I think there's a lot of people getting those vibes now. A good amount that says Klopp top man. I wonder what his next club's going to be, Jurgen Klopp, since he's got
He's
some weird.
actually he's at Borussia Dortmund. He's one of the coaches in the background at Borussia Dortmund club.
Hmm,
So, but I think he's happy. I think he's drained from the Liverpool job. To be honest with you, I
hmm,
think his batteries are really flat, and that's what he said in his press conference as well. And then,
hmm,
he wants to spend time with family. So that's it
hmm,
with Klopp. But yeah, maybe you're right, Fuzz.
hmm,
I mean, it's either going to be tomorrow or Tuesday. You may
hmm.
probably find out what's happening with Ten Hag. I mean, I know he's had loads of chances, but
Yeah.
i- if that's the case, if he goes, then we all know that Van Nistelrooy is going to be the interim manager from then to the end of the season.
Hmm.
But with the interim manager, like Van Nistelrooy, would he be able to buy any players of his own in January? Or if not, does he go in and loan a couple of players?
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, because if he's not going to be the full-time manager, he's just there on a temporary basis. They're not really going to give him a real big, hefty budget
No.
to spend in January. So, I
Yeah.
think you'd be talking about a couple of loanees coming in, and then just seeing what how that takes for this season. So,
I
and
suppose.
that's it.
Yeah. I suppose with the board, the way that they seemingly are operating in the transfer market, I think there's less concern about needing to buy players so specifically for what the manager wants and only to what the manager wants, but also in respective to what player would genuinely appeal as a good player for Manchester United, based off of the way that the board want to see Manchester United playing on a football pitch. They would say, we've got this player that's really highly regarded, got great ceiling for potential. He can grow into this sort of player. We feel like he would fit your system. What do you think? And the manager has the right to say, I like the player, or to say, I really don't think that player is going to fit in the image of what I want. And they will
Mm.
go away and they'll bring back another option, say, what about this guy? Again, highly touted and everything. I think if there is the interim situation in the January transfer window, the signings would be club signings, but it's not one that's just signed for the sake of commercial appeal. It's ones that the board look at the club. What sort of team is this? What sort of team does it look like? Sign a player that fits to what Manchester United Football Club is. Now, maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing, because Manchester United is many things these days, but trophy winning successful team isn't one of them at the moment. But what they compare is like Manchester United, the great name of Man United in throughout history. That's the sort of team it was, but it's not that team now. So are they signing for something that's outdated, or are they signing for currently, um,
Yeah.
to sort of go throughout the evolutionary cycle of the club? If not sacked within 4 games from now, it don't matter what result your owners have failed you. And I think that's going to be an echoed sentiment throughout the fan base. Can't disagree with
Yeah.
that. Big ups to Longhead. Yes, he's Cave. Hey guys, is Tonto okay? Um, I would assume so. I just think whether it's the case that maybe he's travelling back from holiday today, or whether he's just dialed out for the day. I'm not sure. We haven't heard anything from him. So whether we get something tonight or whether we hear from him tomorrow, not sure. But I'm sure. I'd imagine he's okay. But just
Yeah.
don't know. Um, we ain't talking Arsenal here. I hate to say this, but my God, Man United are bad, mate. Yeah, can't disagree with that. Straight to the point. Um, okay, big ups to Longhead Yeti. ULDs are the money to him. Actor would be sack. Um, Ange was fantastic for Celtic. Their club was a mess before he took over. Then he made his signings, Kyogo and Hatate and the likes, and turn them into winners. Spuds fans, be careful what you wish for. And I suppose that's the thing is, with Celtic, they probably give the managers a bit of free reign to really sort of, experiment with things and turn the team into what they really want the team to be in their image. Does Daniel Levy give managers that sort of reign at Tottenham, or does he think, I want Tottenham to look like this? You know, doesn't really matter what the managers think. I want Tottenham to look like this. I do feel like Daniel Levy just likes using Tottenham as his plaything. Do
Yeah.
you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, he's the problem. That's actually it. Tottenham Hotspur is Daniel Levy. He gets the 100% say, just like any other board member does. But I feel now with like the person who's in charge of the board member compared to the football manager,
Hmm.
there's no conversation between them now. I
Hmm.
mean, it's not like years ago our manager used to come to the owner of the club and say, "Look, can we have this player?" The manager doesn't really do that now. It's the owner that
Hmm.
turns around and says, "Right, we're getting this player in. You got to make him into a good player, get him gelled into that team quick, and get him playing as best as quick and best as you can on that pitch." It's not like how it was years ago, and it should be the same. I think the manager should have 50% to say as well. At the end of the day, he's the one that's picking the players, he's picking the team, he's the one that wants them to play to his his expectations. So it's like I said, and that's the problem with Tottenham. I mean, you look at it, he was good at Celtic. Look at the other manager, Brendan Rodgers, when he was at Celtic, he left there and he went to manage Leicester. I mean, he
Hmm.
couldn't really do anything at Leicester, could he? Got sacked. Obviously, went back to Celtic after when Ange left. So
Yeah.
it's one of those. It's one of those things. But you just got to look at it between Celtic and the Premier League, the Scottish Premier League compared to the English Premier League. Totally different. I mean, the Scottish Premier League is equivalent to our Championship.
Mm,
I've always said that, Fuzz. Always said
mm,
it, and I think I always will. So
yeah.
but it's different standard. I feel that he's walked into, especially Andy's walked into our team at Tottenham. I don't think he's the right guy for Tottenham, personally. Honest with you now, but because me being an Arsenal fan and with Tottenham sort of losing and deteriorating, if you like, down the league, hey, I'm all for it.
I think we all are, especially with
Yeah,
the top Spurs that like to talk title talks and the arrogance of some of them. Can't go wrong with Spurs getting battered everywhere they go. Tune banging out at
true.
the Amex Stadium. Um, we like to see it. Players like Rashford out more. Um, yeah, to be honest, I think that in terms of the players that Ten Hag likes to pick,
Yeah,
I think we're past this now. It's not about form or wages or anything. They've got contractual clauses that say they have to play 100%. This is without doubt now. There are contract clauses there. Send me like cease and desist letters if you want, guys. Send me them. Stack out my post box with them. Send police around to my house if you have to. There are contract clauses in there that say those players have to play, regardless of what they do. And there's no way Bruno Fernandes is trying to get himself taken out of the picture with stinker after stinker, biblical stinker, no hook, and then trying to literally get himself forced out of the picture by getting red cards in consecutive games. I was shocked that Bruno Fernandes didn't try to put his studs into someone's eye socket today to get himself just permanently suspended. I was so surprised, and it's just like I don't even get it. I really don't even get it, but it is
no,
what it is. Move on and keep up with the elite again. With Angie's here to win 1,000, just not right fan base at all. Apparently, according to I was hearing the stat on Football Heritage TV. Big ups to Savile on that one. Was apparently Tottenham are like the first Premier League team to ever reach double digits in leading a game by 2 goals or more to lose it.
yeah, yeah. This is true. It's absolutely true, and I bet exactly the same for us. And you know what? Like yourself, I did have a smart. Actually, I did have a laugh. I think that cheered me up when I heard that. So, but yeah, that fact is true. That is true.
Hmm. Typical top. Oh my god, there's somebody on that stream as well in the comments that was just like, "Why are you guys so mad? Chill out. We almost won today." I was like, "I'm sorry." From a point of view, being 2-0 up, the second it went 2-1, that was it. You lost the game. It was over. 3 goals in 20 minutes. Are you sure? Are you sure that you nearly won it? It's like with our game last season against Liverpool where we lost 7-0. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could have drank some of that copium juice that day and said, well, look, at half time we're only losing 1-0, so we could have turned that around and won that game 2-1, guys. Why is everyone so mad that we lost 7-0? Like, why? Why is anyone like even remotely angry? We could have turned it around in the second half. On a different day, we beat Liverpool at Anfield. We beat Liverpool at Anfield. Forget about the 7-0. That's just numbers. It's just numbers that go down in a history book. So yeah, and Anthony's just the delusions cooked his brain. The delusional talk is like, no, I'm out, skis. I'm out of here. Hot Fuzz 1 day stream combo when we play at your ground, which I think would be in December. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Depends. There's probably quite a few people that I could end up doing stream combos with, especially when Arsenal comes around. I think you perhaps would be one of them, Anthony. Um, maybe we'll be talking about Manchester United coming off the back of a winning run of form under Ruud van Nistelrooy, or it could be Manchester United in 20th place in the league with a minus 15 goal difference playing against Arsenal at Old Trafford, and Ineos saying, "Don't worry, guys, we'll sack him if he loses this game, and then he'll survive another week."
Yeah, Smith probably would. I can't. I think he'll finish. I think, to be honest with you, Fuzz, at the end of this season, I mean, I think if I had to predict Man United to finish in the league, I think I could see it, what, eighth this season.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I mean, if for me, a good turnaround, not necessarily a good season or successful season by any stretch, but a good turnaround from where we are at the moment is if, for example, Ruud does come in to take the managerial job, and we end up finishing somewhere like between like fifth, sixth, or seventh place, one of those three positions in the league, get us deep, really deep into a cup tournament, FA Cup or Carabao Cup, get us to a
Yeah,
final, get us to a final one of those competitions, and at the very least, semi/final in Europa League. I'd say fair enough. That's a relatively good recovery to a season. Um, Plus, it's genuinely putting the club more in the right direction, and at least the board can say, right, okay, well, we're going somewhere with this. Then we'll just keep adding to it. We'll just keep adding ingredients to it. The only thing I really fucking hope is that the players that have these contractual clauses that they have to play, they sack them off or sell them. Even though they've just negotiated a new contract with Bruno for 300k a week, I swear to God, next summer, sell him. Sell him to Saudi Arabia. Say, look at this guy. Portuguese Magnifico, GA merchant. He'll carry half of the stats in your team. Sign him, please. But yeah, I mean, I was down to selling him last summer. The summer just gone, but
yeah,
they decided to keep him and give him a new contract in the process. Um, and essentially, so yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that they've made so far. So, any fan base to let their team lose on cups over 3-year cap and don't make a stand, shocking.
it's true. But, Fuzz, do you know what I think? You're talking about tonight. There's only one guy personally who I reckon, with the
Not
players you've
Southgate.
got. No, with the players that you've got in your team, the players you've got in your team, I feel there's only one manager that can motivate them players and get them to a better level. And he's the manager of Aston Villa. That's good evening, Emery. He's the only manager I feel that can motivate this Man United team. But obviously he ain't gonna come because he's happy. He's happy at Villa. You
Yeah.
played against him today. But listen, I mean, it's not necessarily he's been sacked, but he's been a manager of a team which he's been offered a wage to leave that team and come to manage another one. So that's what happens with Unai Emery. He's not necessarily sacked. All right, yeah, Arsenal did sack him. Personally, I feel that we made a mistake in sacking Unai Emery. I'm still wish that we had
Mm,
Unai Emery at Arsenal, but I feel
mm,
the players you've got now, someone like a Unai Emery can change that team around. Look what he did at Villa from 17th. They're playing Champions League football now.
mm,
It's a no-brainer. But maybe he's easily left by the money. I mean, when he
mm,
was the manager of Arsenal, in all fairness, I'll tell you the truth now. Unai Emery's wages, he was on £6 million a year wages, 6 million, and that's not really a lot. I mean, that's the
it's
same. That's the
reasonable.
same wages as the England manager when you manage the country. That's how much Southgate was on, the 6 million.
Mm,
So so I feel like maybe a 10 million offer. I think he might jump at the chance of that and say, well, look, I've done what I did with Villa. Been offered this opportunity, but I can see more of a project at Man United than what I can at Aston Villa. See, some people are easily led by that. And
Mm,
Emery, he's one of those people that can be easily led by that.
mm, absolutely. Well, as you've said, people will say, "Oh, we should go get Unai Emery," and the reality is that we'd literally pick up the phone, dial the number to Aston Villa, and find that our number's been blocked. Like that, they'd just be like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't do business with clubs lesser than us when it comes to letting people go. We don't. We go. We look up, not down.
mm,
Why would Unai Emery give up the comfortable position of Aston Villa, where he's at in his project, and go to a team in absolute turmoil with a job that's synonymous with ruining managers' reputations and careers? Why would they? Why would he ever?
might
Got a
do.
question for you from Aguna Matata. Uh, do you think we'll get a striker? If so, who?
Uh, in January, I think now this. I've said this before on our show, guys. I think we will. Might, I think we'll get a striker in January. I really
Mm,
do. But that means a certain Jesus is going to have to go, and the
mm,
money we get for him would obviously go towards bringing in the striker. Who? That's a very good question.
yeah,
And there's talks on the back that. Do you remember that Sesko, who we've been linked with in the beginning part of this year? His name's been
yeah,
brought up in the January transfer window.
mm,
Rockeries, is it? The guy that plays for Sporting Lisbon.
yeah,
His name's been thrown back into the hat, and there's a couple of others as well. But
mm,
if so, I would have loved to have Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney would have been the one for Arsenal for me. I think he would have paid his heart and soul because he was an Arsenal fan anyway. So I thought he would have played his heart and soul into that and would have scored goals. He's not there. He's gone to Saudi for the money. Personally, I think Arteta did approach him to say, look, come
mm,
on, come at Arsenal, come and play for us. Here's a wage, here's a contract. Come on. I
mm,
personally don't think Mikel Arteta had done that. So I think he's got his own philosophies. But listen, whatever striker it is, let's hope it's a 20 goal striker a season. Because if
mm,
not, he's always a bloody signing one, in my opinion.
mm. For Southgate or Southgate or Ruud van
So,
Nistelrooy, Van Nistelrooy every day of the week
oh,
and twice on
Southgate,
Sunday.
Southgate. I reckon if Southgate came to you, I reckon he might do a good job. I know we all criticise him because he was the manager of England. He's been approached at Man United. How would you feel every season? I look at read this, right? You think of this. It's hard. And I said it to my brother who's a Man United fan. I said to other Man United, there would never ever be another Alex Ferguson. There ain't. So in all fairness, if you had Southgate, if he got you not necessarily just winning the Premier League, but if he got you into Champions League, into that top four every season, yeah, would you say, hang on a second, I think he's doing a good job? Would you be
No,
Southgate in other words?
no,
No?
no, because I'm talking Premier League title talk. Southgate I wouldn't want to have the English Arsene Wenger 50 years younger. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want fourth as a trophy because he's the sort of guy that would genuinely turn or steer the tide of perception at Manchester United and say, we're not winning trophies, guys, but we're on the journey, right? It's a pleasurable journey. It's like foreplay in the bedroom that lasts forever, and you're always looking forward to the second course, the main course, right? But you never get bored of the starters course because it's always exciting and you're always on the edge. Southgate is just like, no, we want to be the team that gets it over the edge, right? We want to be the team that actually wins it. doesn't doesn't go on some love story, no 50 Shades of Grey nonsense. One shade of something, and it's gold. We only care about gold. One shade of gold, win trophies, or silver, because silverware, but it's yours
I mean,
gold.
we
But
want that Arsenal, but at the minute with our manager, we're not getting it. And all our Arsenal fans is deluded and saying, "Oh yeah, but we finished second. We have more points than last season. We got the best defense." Yeah, I know, I get that, but
hmm,
what have we won? We haven't
yeah,
won anything. But to be honest with you, what I'm trying to say is, compared to Man United now and Ten Hag, you might have to have a manager like that to come in. That might have to happen for a few years. Do you know what I'm saying? And then most probably bring in another manager that can push to that next step. You need a manager now that can get you into a face and say, right, this it is top four, top four, top four. If that's the best he can do, then you get that next manager that can push to that silverware. Do you know what I'm saying? I
are,
think we're
are
at
you
it at
trying?
Arsenal.
Are you trying to say Man United should do an Arsenal?
Well, I mean, you'd be in a better place, wouldn't you? Honestly, you'd be in a better
Well,
place, and you'd look forward to it like a season. Maybe you feel like, yeah, we can win trophies here and there, and we got Champions League football. Get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Think of the revenue, buzz.
the
Think of the
problem
revenue.
the problem with that though is if Man United did the Arsenal, they'd probably accidentally stumble into winning a Premier League anyways because the board isn't Don Edu.
Oh,
It's Don Ashworth, Don Christopher Vivell, Don Omar Barada, Don Jason Wilcox. They don't give a shit about processes. They're just like, we want to win stuff, guys. Like this is that's the bread and butter of Manchester United Football Club. None of
yeah,
this toe sucking, barbecuing, looking at your own daughters in weird ways that shouldn't be appropriate, and so on and so forth. Right? You care about doing your job.
yeah,
That's all that matters. That's all they care about. What they want is trophies to go in the bloody trophy cabinet. And that's
yeah.
it. Like, period. Full stop. The end of the sentence. I's dotted, T's crossed. Trophies is Manchester United's DNA. That's what it's fundamentally about. So yeah, it to me, whether doing that sort of process thing is basically what Ten Hag is hoping happens. He's hoping the board will give him that benefit of the doubt. But I think with Manchester United, we're sort of past that. We're genuinely past that. I think it's like there's a lot that needs to go right for the manager in order to get back into that sort of prime position. And
Yeah.
I think there's too much sort of understanding between player, manager, coaches, board, and everything to really sort of recover that into a state that Arsenal are in currently.
Mm.
Getting top players in January is very rare these days, says Michael. Um,
It is. It is very rare.
hmm,
It is very rare. I just think on your team lineup today, guys, I think I wouldn't have played Fernando. I would have taken Fernando. I would have put Fernandez to the bench, and I
yeah,
would
I
have put
would.
I would have put Ericsson there, and
Yeah.
then I would have played Casemiro alongside Mane. Would you agree with that? Or because I think with that Hoyland and Ericsson is that link up just for Man United and also international wise as well.
Oh, hello. Got some David Ornstein bombers in regards to the managerial one. Um, Two good bits of news with this. The idea that Manchester United can't afford to sack Eric Ten Hag due to FFP is not true. So £17 million is not a concern to the board. They will happily pay it off if they so have to.
Yeah,
The second follow-up good news is that Gareth Southgate was not a contender for the Manchester United job in the summer, and there is no information to suggest he would be now. So all of you Southgate hipsters out there, yeah, take this as the calling to book that ticket to some weird Epstein-like island and to disappear, right? because your dream scenario is not going to come true. It's not going to happen. Your beloved's love life is not going to be featured on your TV screens every weekend and midweek, wearing a suit whilst Manchester United are playing football. He's going to continue sitting on the sidelines and having pictures taken of him in the street by people who want to create fake stories and fake media. So enjoy it, absolutely enjoy it. We will continue to speculate the outcomes of tomorrow and Tuesday, of course. We'll quickly rifle through the rest of these comments and we'll think about finishing things up there. January window, did Arsenal plan to fail or did we fail to plan? I think Arsenal probably failed to plan for me.
Yeah, it's ultra prime, definitely. I mean, we could see about the first window. The first window was awful. It's absolutely awful. We're worse off now than what we was before the window bloody closed. I mean, we got less depth in our squad, and that's a fact. So, but hopefully January, I just want this striker to come in now. I really do.
2 years before he got the job at us, or for Manu did Tang Hug. Tang Hug. That's a new one. An Arteta plan. Well, Ten Hag's plan, or the idea with Manchester United, was to turn Manchester United into a progressive team. That did develop younger players, but to be honest, that's sort of happened. But at the same time, it's not really happened because the players that are currently here, none of them really have progressed or really improved by any substantial means. Yeah, the only players, as I've said, are those that came through the academy: Garnacho, Kobe Mainu. I think Diogo Dallo, you could say perhaps, but even then, he's still showing frailties. Amad Diallo this season has sort of come into his own a little bit. Some people will say Rasmus Højlund, but I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course not, mate. He's still here. Big ups Fuzzy and Anthony. Big ups to Stephanie.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to see you in the chat. I hope everything's well with you. I would be very surprised if Arsenal do go on to sign Gyökeres in January. But of course, platforms like FTV and the Football Terrace will push this, no doubt. Same with Osherman to Chelsea. Yeah, I think it is that case, isn't it? Where the big leading media outlets that will say we're going to be linked with this player. This player's definitely coming. I've been told by his mother. She texted me at 3 a.m. last night and said, my son's going to play for your club. This is where you realise you trace the call back to source location. It's somewhere in Venezuela. Yeah, we don't believe you. We don't believe you.
No.
You don't have the scoop.
Yeah, the calls come from a phone box from somewhere.
It came from a dial-up. It's one of those. It's got the cam with a little string that goes like, hello.
Yeah. Oh, the pop noodle carton.
Yeah. That's how they do calls at London Colney. Yeah, they will say that, but can't show you. On point, mate. Has Unai Emery been sacked yet? Can you imagine if Ineos did an inside job with they just managed to get the manager sacked from within, contract terminations by complete legality, and then he's just a free agent. So, oh, for God's sakes, why have I lost my job? Guess what? Job opening at Manchester United. Come on in. We'll give you. We won't give you undercooked chicken. We'll give you fully cooked chicken, and we'll season it. We'll
There's
give
one
you a
thing
bit
that Unai Emery doesn't like fuzz, and that's a leaky roof.
That's fine. They'll contract a load of people just to patch up the roof. They'll turn Old Trafford's roof terraces into brick, like tiles, bricks, tiles, and mortar. They'll do all sorts. They'll improve the drainage. They'll get also like it's the best guttering that you've ever seen the stadium have.
It has to be
Uh,
a deep flow, at least by what 8, 10 foot maybe.
Tango Slap 1985. You got Tango. Where's this come from?
Yeah.
For Teta and Edu, no more signings until the summer. Don't be surprised if Arsenal do not invest in January. Do not be surprised if they don't do it.
Mm.
It'll be stupid of them to not do it, but don't
Yeah.
be surprised. Club politics, if there's not enough interest or demand from the fan base, why does this board need to act? Nobody wants to. Nobody wants them to. And that's where we're at. The fans, the lifeblood of a club, their combined, their unified voice means something to people who work for these clubs. It genuinely does. That's why protests actually incite action, especially in the Premier League. I mean, it's so out of our comfort zone with culture. Nobody really cares about proper massive protests, which is why even the Glazers, for owners that never care about anything, literally probably sit there laughing at a starving homeless man on the street whilst eating a Big Mac in front of them. They literally had to act. They were scared into action when we got the biggest game in English football called off.
Yeah.
Storm the pitch of Old Trafford. By the way, you don't get to play. Good luck. Try kick a ball around for 90 minutes with about several hundred fans on the pitch. Good luck. The fact that they tried to get it cancelled a second time as well. They had to do it behind closed doors, but they tried to get it cancelled a second time. They literally had to pull out all the stops to get both team buses to the stadium without them being intercepted, because they actually stopped like 2 or 3 buses that they thought the teams were in. They actually successfully stopped 2 of them. It's just the one that they let slip was the Liverpool team bus that made it to Old Trafford. All the other United guys were there like hours, literal hours before. So they had to go through a lot of hoop jumping to evade the Man United masses. We will never be winning Premier League title with Forteta and Edu in charge. Wow.
No,
Stranger
I
things have
don't.
happened, but this season, yeah, don't see it happening. Take care, all. Big up, everyone. Big ups to you, Good and Matata. Take care.
You're good at
Um,
myself.
Stan Kroenke only cares about Champions League qualifying next season. Well, it's all to do with the money, isn't it?
Mm.
Achieve the financial targets per year. The success side of it has no implication to us. So we'll talk the good talk because we need to get ourselves motivated enough to chase it. Because if you get close, well, you're in a good position financially. So of course Arsenal are going to keep competing for the Premier League title. Of course they'll be there in second place every single season. They don't care about making turn into first place. They don't. You're in you're in a good financial position every year. Why would you need to pursue first? I'll tell you when Edu will really shit bricks and start spending mad amounts of money is if Arsenal finished fifth place this season.
Yeah.
Outside of Champions League, straight away you watch it. He will make it rain all over North London. He will. They'll pull the trigger, and it'll be literal war chest. Arsenal doing a Chelsea madness or something, because that's how business people operate. Pull out all the stops in response to lackluster financial incomings, and then yeah. Um, Even Mark Goldfish has said he will block people if you end up being a Ten Hag outer. There's the problem right there. The thing with Mark Goldfish, Goldbridge or Goldbitch, whichever name you want to give him. The problem with this is that he, with his opinion, right, with his viewpoint and where he is as far as an influencer goes, he knows his whatever it is he says holds weight, right? If people go against the grain, he does not like he doesn't appreciate the alternative opinion. Genuinely doesn't. So if you don't see eye to eye with the guy, he will he discredits not your opinion, but you for having the opinion. It's like people say, "Oh, the people that are Ten Hag out, I just don't know what's wrong with them. Like they're just absolutely out of their mind." Like, why should you care? Why should you care what they think? You could turn up tomorrow and say, by the way, ready salted Walker's crisps are the best flavour of crisp in the country. You saying that would literally impact the ready salted flavour of crisp sales. It would, genuinely would. So when someone else says, "Oh well, Ten Hag out, ball fraud, sack this guy," I mean, fuck me. There's somebody, Aaron on Saeed's channel, who started speaking Dutch. This man literally went and studied Dutch and started speaking in Dutch. It's just like talking a load of Schleifen. And I have no idea what Dutch is. I know it's like bad Belgian and bad German meshed into one. No offense to Dutch people, but your language sucks. Really sucks. It's shit and it's ugly. And you feel bad about it. But
Ten Hag, look at
genuinely,
Ten Hag.
yeah. Get back on that plane and fly back to Amsterdam Schiphol. God. Garbage isn't even a United true supporter. I do think he is a Man United supporter because the guy was literally got pictures of him as a kid wearing United shirts. It's just because he was born and raised in Nottingham. It's like me. I'm born somewhere southwest London. Like, oh, you must be a Chelsea supporter because that's your most local team, right? What about Reading? You live close to Reading. You Reading supporter? I'm like, no, I'm a Man United supporter. Live the other end of the country. Barely go to any games because one, can't afford it, and two, I don't really have time to do it. So, guess I'm a fake fan, I guess. But yeah, I just think the political aspect of when it comes to opinions and sharing viewpoints, it's out of whack, completely out of whack.
Yeah. I think he used to be a policeman, didn't he,
Mm.
called Fish? Be a policeman.
Brent D. Cesar,
Yeah. I
for
commit. I
former.
like. I watch his little videos, his little gimmick, these little videos on YouTube of him, and he's going, "God, man, he's like." After a while, he goes, "Oh, yes, we're playing like a damp mattress. It's two. There you go." And then suddenly, as he's changed the scoreline to two, oh, I don't fucking. I've had a fucking enough of this bank. It's now free. Why do I fucking bother? And he's there. He's picking up stuff. He's throwing it. He walks off the show for about a couple of minutes and then comes back on.
It's like bloody what was it against Crystal Palace when he had drunk a bit and he's feeling quite aggressive and literally took it out on one of his lamps that he has behind him and actually broke the thing. He's
Yeah,
just
I've seen that one.
smashed a lamp. It's like, yeah, there you go, there you go. I've heard many times that Goldfish is a Forest supporter, but clearly got a work job at Man United, which, of course, speaking about Manchester United, gets him more views rather than Nottingham Forest. I suppose the thing is, with just as like a closing argument with this, with Mark Goldbridge, I have watched United stand content for years, like before the likes of Rants and Bants and Flex and Side and all of those guys first went on to the channel. Like he was in essence at a channel size that's quite small. At the time, Full Time Devils were the big channel out there and were like far and away, like it was big fish, small fish type situation. Mark Goldbridge was Manchester United through and through at that point. But I'll tell you what, he was a lot more sort of aggressive to the extremities in how he came across with his viewpoints at the time. So I mean, it does feel like he's sort of adopted celebrity status as he's gotten into this position, and it rubs off everyone the wrong way. So, like the actual football fan Mark Goldbridge is long gone. Now you've got the celebrity football fan Mark Goldbridge in its place, and at times, I swear to God, it's the most insufferable shit ever. Like, please, I beg you, stop. Just actually speak like a normal fan and just let fucking rip if stuff you see isn't good enough. Like, genuinely, like, diss some people if you have to. Like, end careers through how badly you burn them. Like, spit bars if you have to. I don't care, just let rip, literally. Don't censor opinions, don't shoot other opinions down, just say it as it is, how it is. Like, don't beat around the bush. But yeah, I think it's probably about right sort of time to perhaps call it a day with the show. A big thank yous to Anthony Herbert, of course, for joining me for tonight, with it being quite impromptu. It was going to be a match reaction video followed by the Sunday night takeaway show, but because with Tony not having gone AWOL today, no real knowledge as to where he is or what's going on. But yeah, hopefully we get an update tonight or tomorrow as to what's going on with Tony, because of course we'll still have the good, the bad, and the ugly in the midweek. So if it is the case that Tony's travelling back, then that will definitely be the case that we should have our weekly episodic television episode or YouTube episode coming out again. But until Wednesday, plenty more things can happen. And Anton, what say you with your near, not so distant future happenings?
Well, I'm going to say thanks for Fuzzy for letting me on the show. You know, it was brilliant. You know, coming in talking about Man United, you know, and other things, and big up to people in the chat. Hopefully, yeah, Tony will be back, and then we can get on with the good, the bad, the ugly show next week. I got I can't believe I'm doing this, but on Friday I got the day off of work Friday, and I'm going to Liverpool first, and because my missus she's got family in Liverpool, and apparently we're I don't know. They want to get they want to get obviously Liverpool's not playing because it's international, but they want to get at Anfield. They want to have a look around the stadium, this, that, and the other. I'm thinking I might do it, but if I do, a part of me wants to take a nice big
Steaming
steamy
shit
shit. Yeah, they said it seems like
directly underneath the "This is Anfield" sign in the tunnel. I let you everyone just constant state of shock and seeing this massive turd just curled out in the middle of the players' tunnel. Like, what the fuck? And
it's
literally, if they ask you, if they tell you anything, I'll say it's one of two people: one, Richard Herbert, or two, Jurgen Klopp.
yeah. It's
What
one of the two.
one of those two.
Yeah, I'll most probably bring my brother Rich. Say to him, look, if you actually go around the corner, where can we find it? Well, if you go around the corner, if there's a Greg's round the corner, it's got possibility he could be in there. So check Greg's first.
Yeah, just imagine that if the police surround a Greg's armed armed operation. Come out with your hands where we can see them, including the Greg's sausage roll that you've got in your mouth, mate. We know what you've done. One sausage left in the halls of Anfield, and the other one in your hand.
He would do, yeah, yeah. They say to me, can you talk some sense into him? I'd want to look at him, I'd be going, he'd be holding up 3 bags, and the first thing I'll say is, fucking hell, Richie, you want to die? First thing I'll say. But yeah, He's good. He's all good in good fun. You got to give back. You know, he's the younger sibling. He's the younger sibling, so you know, we always give the younger siblings some shit. We always do. You know, whether
Mm,
we ripping the piss out
mm.
of them, doing horrible
Yeah,
things.
I'm the youngest in my family, so I just send it back the other way. Return to sender. Maybe I'll curl one out back in that same letter package and then stick the returns label on it and send it back through. See how far it gets
You know,
before before somebody asks some pretty damning question. It's like when
oh,
people
fucking
do
hell.
these videos of fan mail. They unbox this really like excessively packaged up thing. They open the box. It's like, "Oh, P.S. Much love from Congo." Like, mate, you literally just took a dump in a plastic pot, and then literally put it about 50 layers of packaging and sent it to me. Like, why is this perceived as fan mail? It's like I
Oh,
spent a
good.
good 2 solid hours squeezing that one out for you.
You've been eating nuts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
But anyways, thank you very much to everyone for tuning in. Big ups, take care, guys. Thank you for tuning in, Michael at Chelsea. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday nights and best of luck into the new week. I've got 2 weeks off. I've got holiday. I'm taking time away from work and just kicking back.
Oh,
I
you
ain't going anywhere. It's a staycation. Stay at home. Enjoy your lions.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I've
Bloody hell.
taken.
Oh, yeah. But you're in retard because, in all fairness, you have you got to use your holiday up before December
No,
time? Did they put it?
not December. No, my deadline's. I think it's about April. At April
Oh,
time.
is it?
So I've still got a lot of time to use up between now and that cut-off date. So whether I'm still in the same job at that point, but maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'll have a different job by the time we get there.
Well,
Um, one that's probably more full time, hopefully, and I'll get all of my weekends available, so I can actually keep up to date with football and stuff. So yeah,
oh, you've
fingers
done your
crossed.
fantasy football league, wouldn't you? And taking players out. You're going to be studying,
But
aren't you, first?
what fantasy Premier League? I mean, this is one of those things I don't really care too much about, but I suppose because I've got more of that consistent time on my hands, it's like I know what I'm going to get um, with my weekends. So yeah, I think it's just having a bit of consistency and a bit of availability when it comes to the football side of things. That
Yeah,
and get paid better because of the job, so can't go wrong
exactly.
with it.
Are you going to be
So
watching England, or would you rather stick pins in your eyes?
I'd rather uh, I'd rather stick pins in my eyes, to be honest. I'd rather eat this light bulb here, just casually, just casually eat that and chew in the grass.
Two in the
So,
class.
but yeah. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, and yeah, hope you unwind for the last couple of hours of your weekends before everyone goes back to being miserable on Monday morning. But hey,
Mm.
Ten Hag could be sacked tomorrow, and if it does happen, we'll be live for it. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and have your fingers crossed, your legs crossed, and your testicles crossed. Actually, rescind that last one because that's bloody painful as anything. Um, but yeah, maybe we'll have something content-wise coming out tomorrow. We'll see. We'll
Could
see what
do.
happens. But until then, take care, everybody, and we'll see you when we see you. Speak to you all later. Take care.
Come on, you gooners.
Turn down your volume a bit.